of Bugolobi, New Portbell Road and Old Portbell Road over the weekend made me realize that in as much as the works are still ongoing, it doesn't look like there is going to be completion anytime soon. And because of that, Ugandans are supposed to grapple with the increasing traffic jam on the roads that are being worked on around this time. So the big question here is, we have a new executive director. We need answers when because let's face it, to these roads, and so much time is wasted on the roads through traffic jam by Ugandans. I think it's about time we got some answers. And since we are starting a new month and this is a new year, can we see completion of roads at least by the middle of the year? Well, these are musings of my mind, but also questions to those that are concerned to do something. Well, this is Good Morning Uganda, where we bring you inspiration but also education. And I'm normally not alone. I'm usually with the fantastic two, Jerome Paul Sonko and Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. Right in studio here with me is Jerome Paul. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Olive, and I welcome you to the month of love. I see you've understood the memo. I don't think that is red, but I think it also
it's a shade of red.
Well, it kind of tells us that you've set the pace when it comes to this very month. But a happy new month to our dear viewer, wherever you're catching us from. And what a weekend we've had, and what a week we are likely to be having, especially on the side of Uganda's education system, because schools have officially reopened.
Yes.
And traffic jam kicked off as early as Saturday, especially on Jinja Road and Entebbe Road, because those roads also lead us to one of the busiest secondary and primary schools. So you can easily imagine that. And even while coming here, I've also got to notice that there are quite a number of students who have woken up very early in the morning because first term is here, parents have already prepared. And then there are also those that are still in rush to see that at least by Saturday this week, their children or the students are back home. But then in the same regard, when you talk about the road system in Uganda, especially in the Kampala metropolitan, many of our roads are in a very, very bad state, I should say. Why? We don't even know when they will be completed.
Yes.
And we are only hopeful that they will be completed. But we do not know the time frame of when this will be done. And the only beauty about it is that in Kampala, there are quite a number of roads that are going to be turned into, even those that had roundabouts, for example, that are going to be filled up with traffic lights. And the upgrades is actually ongoing. There is one around Jinja Road, Victoria University. There is one around Sheraton. There are quite a number of routes where there are some maintenance works ongoing, and this is to also deal with maintenance and expansion. But on the side of the Luzira Portbell Road, right from Nakawa Moobs,
yes,
there is too much dust, first of all, and it has been the same for like the past 2 years. So people are only waiting to see when will these roads be done.
yes.
And then at the same time, you're wondering, if they are done, what will happen to the other roads that need maintenance? Because these are all bigger questions that we need to answer. But well, we hope that by the time we head into the elections, maybe those who wish to be voted into power will speak highly of this, and we will see some changes. But nonetheless, for a driver or any person trading that route, many tell you.
Man, it's it's actually sad. Yes, thank you so much for talking about drivers, because Jerama will tell you, as someone that is now suffering the brunt of bad roads, the amount of money people are paying in car repairs because of the roads that we have, you can't even comprehend. And this is the storyline for pretty much every Ugandan. Now, for the people of Chira, Mulawa, Bulindo, Nigeria 1, Nigeria 2, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Some roadworks are starting, but then they have been starting for months now. Though right now in the valley right before Nigeria 2, There is some works that are ongoing. So hopefully this is the start of a journey that we will see. But still, like we have said, me and Jerem, we don't know. Yes, the works have begun, but how long will they take, and when will they be done? So big questions here, really. But Jerem, away from our roads, what else has stood out for you over this weekend, or what are you looking forward to in this new week?
Well, lots of things that I'm looking forward to, especially when it comes to the issue, because last week, Thursday and Fridays, we had schools choosing or giving cut-off points for senior one students to enter, or entry points, that is the better word to use. So I wait to see how, because I've been getting some phone calls, surprisingly, from some colleagues who are asking me, do you have any person you know from this and this school to help me get my child in for senior one? And you can imagine the kind of rush that the parents are having. But then also, Olive, over the weekend, policymakers and the civil society organizations in Uganda regarding the U.S. withdrawal of, from the Paris Agreement, but then also on the executive orders. Now, the civil society organizations have been having dialogues, different dialogues, to come out and, suggest options or suggest solutions, just in case we lose funding, because already the funding has been cut, and it does not put us in the best, has been halted, but then we also had cut funding right from last year. So you can easily, and we've been feeling the pinch along the way. And besides that, as we are looking into the budget framework paper with the discussions ongoing, I would wish to know how we are going to cope up with the same, because first of all, the budget is going to be cut from the 72 trillion we had this current financial year down to around 53 trillion. So, meaning, if you're to look at the discussions that are ongoing in Parliament, you would wish to know, how are we going to survive in this situation? And the civil society organizations have been, trying to, feeling that the government should be very, strategic in the kind of decision making they take this year, because at the end of it all, we shall not be able to survive if at all we do not have any kind of support coming in as we've been having in the previous years.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, too much happening this year, by the way. Jerome, when I think about the events that we are expecting, and speaking of the same, the by-elections in Kawempe North are about to take tongues wagging. The NRM has already fronted its flag bearer, and that is a daughter to the NRM chairperson, Moses Chigongo. And some people are saying, but why? So interesting stuff happening when it comes to the news, but also the question of cards. Parties are showing us the dirty business when it comes to giving cards to the people that they want to represent.
We are going to have big shockers this year, Olive, because in 2021, if I remember so well, many of the different hopefuls from that subscribe to different political parties were shocked or were given a shocker of their lives when they failed to make the cut in the primaries, or even getting a card for, to belong to a certain party. And in this very year, we're having quite a number of people who are standing in for the same positions, and then they want to get a card, because there are some political parties, for example, the National Unity Platform, that does not use primaries. But at the same time, you look at the NRM, the NRM party, which is going to throw in the primaries very soon. So the 2026 roadmap is clearly shaping up, I should say. And the other bit of the by-election, one of the things I've come to realize is that we as Ugandans are aiding this particular situation or these particular developments. Why? Because every time we are seeing someone coming in for a by-election, or every time we see the passing on of a given candidate, the first thing that many people think of is to look for a family member. Or the others will tell you, since this particular person belongs to a political family, they would be the right candidate for it. And it's the same conversation we had when we were talking about the youth elections. So at times the family is always backing people to get in, whether they are good at it or not, but to keep the family legacy alive.
At the end of the day, you as a Ugandan, you're the one who's uplifted a bill. So it's very important to make the decision of whom you want to represent you very carefully. And also the national voters register is still being updated up until the 10th of February 2025. Now, if you do not update your particulars or register, you will not be able to vote in June next year for the general election. So you should go and have your particulars checked and updated. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning to you, lady, and gentlemen, plus our viewers. Thank you so much for having us.
Wow. Robert, it's nice to see you. It's a beautiful new week and it's a beautiful new month. What do we have in the news?
Well, to begin with, so we talked about the Hawaiian non-dress, but not only that daughter, this side, who actually is the bearer, when I reviewed when she protested last time, as I think that Kampala woman so she has that. But also the late Semina's leadership is also up for this seat, and she's very prepared to replace the husband given that opportunity in Parliament. So I think family or not, well, I think we should look at his ability to deliver. At this perspective, in the shoes of both the children or whatever it is, they have the ability to deliver, or are we just promoting them because they are family. That's the ability and that's the qualifications, no problem. I wanted to say what happened in the local news this morning. President Republic has advised Ministry of Water and Environment to eliminate environmental degradation of wetlands in the country to ensure that we guard against the effects of climate change. The same wetlands are disappearing 3 times more than the forest, which needs check-up both for the environment and for humanity. The statement was contained in remarks read by the Vice President, Mr. Aloko, at this year's World Wetlands Day celebration. In 1994, Uganda's wetland cover was 46% of Uganda's surface area, which has changed between the year 2008 and 2015, when it dropped from 10.8% to 8.9% respectively. Going by the third national development plan, government intends to shift.
Failures. If you watch global news, you will know that many disasters have happened around the world in the recent months, including wildfires, cyclones, floods, and hurricanes. Commemorating World Wetlands Day symbolizes Uganda's commitment towards joining together the global community in affirming the common concern on the conservation and management of wetland resources. I urge the Ministry of Water and Environment, together with all partners, to double efforts towards securing our wetlands, which are biodiversity hotspots, granaries of water, carbon sinks, and sources of livelihood. Let us promote irrigation of the wetlands, fish farming at the edges of the wetlands, and also support value addition of wetland products. I would like to advise all those in wetlands to leave the wetlands peacefully. Let us use the Parish Development Model to support our people to start alternative development on livelihoods and stop relying only on wetlands.
The town council. In the Antonde Town Council now, the cleaning exercise demonstrates the Army's commitment to serving the citizens. Now, these week-long activities aim at fostering a good relationship with civilians as Liantonde district leaders commended the UPDF for the dedication to national security and community service. Now, Liantonde Town Council Mayor Mustafa Kalule thanked government and the UPDF leadership for deploying soldiers to keep the town clean, thereby leading by example. Now, during the exercise, residents were sensitized on the maintaining of hygiene and keeping their towns clean. Now we speak matters, rural power connection. Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company has launched a 13.1 million euro grant, Oreo Mini Hydropower project to boost rural electrification in 9 selected districts in western Uganda. The official groundbreaking ceremony at Rachitandara Playground in Mitoma district witnessed the signing of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development and the Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company rock ground for the Oreo Mini Hydropower project. Entails construction of 9 mini hydropower plants with a combined capacity of 288 kilometers in the project area, as well as connecting up to 71,081 households across Kasese and Bundibujo districts. Now, UECCC Managing Director Roy Nyamtale Baguma said that phase 1 of the project will include 4 sites in Chwera, Igasa, Nsonja, and Hoimo. At the end, at least 71,081 households and 2,300 small and medium-sized enterprises in rural western Uganda will be connected to electricity, and the project is estimated to be completed in 24 months. Now, the construction to be carried out by Hanak Technology Company Limited of China for civil and hydromechanical works, and Osberg GmbH from Germany for the design and installation of turbines and electromechanical works. And lastly, from the local news, members of the Ikirabok Idanyos clan have distanced themselves from the House of Elders, who recently issued a public denouncement of the Iteso Culture Union and its leadership. The clan leader, Peterson Omoding, told UBC that a group of individuals within the clan are seeking to undermine the ICU leadership for their own personal gain. This was during the installation of Ikirabok Idanyo's new clan leader following the death of his predecessor, Moses Olemukan. Now, the path of Omoding's leadership was not an easy one following the death of Moses Olemukan, the former leader of Ikirabok Idanyo's clan in Bukedia district. The clan faced a prolonged leadership struggle marked by infighting among competing candidates. And according to some elders, self-interest delayed the election of a new clan leader. Now, Iteso Culture Union intervened and Peterson Omoding was elected by the majority of clan members and formally installed by the Parliament Chief of the Iteso Cultural Union. During the coronation ceremony, Emorimori Papa Iteso Paul Sande Emolot Etemoilang warned clan leaders. This event also symbolized a reflection on the values that bind Iteso clans. And that does it for our local news this morning.
Away from home, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum have held a call to discuss strengthening ties and economic cooperation in the face of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff move, which has drawn global condemnation. The Trump administration plans to impose levies of 25% on goods from Canada and 10% on energy products from the country starting from Tuesday. Goods from Mexico will be subject to tariffs of 25%, while imports from China face 10%. Trudeau says his country will respond with matching tariffs on up to 155 billion Canadian dollars, which is roughly 105 billion in US imports. Sheinbaum has also ordered retaliatory tariffs while China promised countermeasures, saying the US tariffs seriously violate World Trade Organization's rules. Trump said the potential domestic pain caused by the tariffs and retaliatory measures taken against the US will be worth the price that must be paid, also railing against critics of his plan on his platform Truth Social. Now, moving on, the former president of Spain's Football Federation, Luis Rubiales, goes on trial on Monday, accused of sexual assault for kissing the player Jenny Hermoso in a case which has fed into wider discussions about sexism and consent. Hermoso is scheduled to appear as a witness on the opening day, having traveled from Mexico where she plays club football. The trial runs until 19th February as Spain's players receive their medals after defeating England in Sydney to win the 2023 World Cup. Rubiales grabbed Hermoso by the head and kissed her on the lips. Afterwards, Hermoso said the kiss had not been consensual, while Rubiales insisted it had been. The incident triggered protests and calls for Rubiales' resignation, and it also entered the political arena. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, whose left-wing government has approved reforms seeking to boost gender equality and ensure consent in sexual relations, said that Rubiales' kiss had shown that there is still a long way to go when it comes to equality and respect between women and men. After initially remaining defiant and denouncing a witch hunt driven by fake feminism, the Federation president eventually resigned before legal charges were brought against him. And coming back to East Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo has called on Arsenal, Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain to end their blood-stained sponsorship deals with Visit Rwanda amid worsening humanitarian crisis in the country. The appeal comes as M23 rebels captured Goma, the largest city in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, while the United Nations Refugee Agency estimates more than 400,000 people have been forced from their homes this year alone. A group of UN experts maintains the Rwandan army is in the de facto control of M23 operations. DR Congo's Foreign Minister, Teresi Kaikwamba Wagner, has written to the owners of Arsenal and PSG and to Bayern President Herbert Heiner to question the morality of the deals. She highlighted how Visit Rwanda's sponsorship could be funded by the illicit mining of blood minerals in the occupied parts of Democratic Republic of Congo before being transported across the border and exported from Rwanda. In her letter to Arsenal, Kaikwamba Wagner stated that Rwanda's culpability for the ongoing conflict has become incontrovertible after the UN reported that 4,000 Rwandan troops are active in Democratic Republic of Congo. It is time Arsenal ended its blood-stained sponsorship deals with the oppressor nation. If not for your own consciences, then the club should do it for the victims of Rwandan aggression, she wrote. And with that, we come to the end of our international news, but we still have more in the realm of the press.
This morning, Museveni versus the law, says the Daily Monitor. Now, on different stages, President Museveni's reaction to Supreme Court's ruling on trial of civilians in the military courts has attracted criticism from lawyers who think that the president's comments are tantamount to the attempts to sabotage the doctrine of separation of powers. And then you can see the courts in here. His take, anyway, the country is not governed by the judges. It is governed by the people, all of us Ugandans who are old enough to vote. In the matter of the constitution and other legislation, we govern ourselves by having a referendum, constitutional amendments or amendments of the law by Parliament, the President wrote. Now, the ruling Chief Justice Owinyi Dolo ruled the provisions of the UPDF Act constituting and providing for the trial procedure of the GCM, the Division Court Martial, and the Court Martial Appeal Court do not contain any or sufficient constitutional guarantees and safeguards for them to exercise their judicial functions with independence and impartiality. And then also special report, why is stomach cancer on the rise in Western? Find more details in there. Now in the other news, Bank of Uganda appoints new legal and ICT bosses amid wait for the haste findings. Now in society news, revelers give APAS distinctions after maiden concert. And also healthy living, my 23-year journey of living with HIV and AIDS. Someone is sharing his ordeal. And then also schools keeping the guard up over Mpox as new term starts. That report is also with the Daily Nation, Daily Monitor. Now to Kenya with the Daily Nation, abductions, the weak links. Police abuse, the police abuse of power remains a big challenge in Kenya as Kenya grapples with increased cases of enforced disappearances. It is emerging that the lack of a specific law to tackle the crime is worsening and already in dire situation. Then a college student, her own child stabbed to death. That report is also in the Daily Nation. More cases of femicide as well rising in the country there. Now, ODM plots to counter Ruto's Western forays. Find details on how that plan will work. And then hospitals start denying teachers and police officers services over unremitted medical premiums. Now, a given figure is that the National Treasury has a 29 billion Kenyan shillings contract with Minet Administrative Kenya Limited. Now, fixing the nation, there is a new bold new show that hits the airwaves on NTV Kenya. Details of that are also with the Daily Nation. Now, lastly, from our press review this morning, The Citizen. Tanzania in the crossfire amid raging DRC conflict. Now, the ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo is not only taking a toll on human lives, but also severely affecting Tanzania's economy, particularly its vital transport and trade sectors. Then in matters health experts sound alarm over surge in advanced HIV disease. Also, what banks meeting trillions in profit means for the Tanzanian economy. In national weather, NEMC's alert on possible impact of heavy rains to the people of Tanzania. And then what's next after U.S. government blacklists 300 Tanzanians in Trump crackdown? Big question yet to be answered. And that does it for our press review this Monday.
Maybe one more, when we look at the New Vision today, Congo crisis, what next? It shows that 1,600 UN staff have been evacuated from Goma to Entebbe. So much more in the New Vision and the other papers Jerome Paul has shared with us. Now let's take a short break. We have Chameleon giving us to Bonge.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning.
If you watch global news, you will know that many disasters have happened around the world in the recent months, including wildfires, cyclones, floods, and hurricanes. Commemorating World Wetlands Day symbolizes Uganda's commitment towards joining together the global community in affirming the common concern on the conservation and management of wetland resources. I urge the Ministry of Water and Environment, together with all partners, to double efforts towards securing our wetlands, which are biodiversity hotspots, granaries of water, carbon sinks, and sources of livelihood. Let us promote irrigation of the wetlands, fish farming at the edges of the wetlands, and also support value addition of wetland products. I would like to advise all those in wetlands to leave the wetlands peacefully. Let us use the parish development model to support our people to start alternative development on livelihoods and stop relying only on wetlands.
The town council. In the Antonde Town Council now, the cleaning exercise demonstrates the Army's commitment to serving the citizens. Now, these week-long activities aim at fostering a good relationship with civilians as the Antonde district leaders commended the UPDF for the dedication to national security and community service. Now, the Antonde Town Council Mayor Mustafa Kalule thanked government and the UPDF leadership for deploying soldiers to keep the town clean, thereby leading by example. Now, during the exercise, residents were sensitized on the maintaining of hygiene and keeping their towns clean. Now we speak matters rural power connection. Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company has launched a 13.1 million euro grant Oreo mini hydropower project to boost rural electrification in 9 selected districts in western Uganda. The official groundbreaking ceremony at Rachitandara Playground in Mitoma district witnessed the signing of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development and the Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company rock ground for the Oreo mini hydropower project. Entails construction of 9 mini hydropower plants with a combined capacity of 288 kilometers in the project area, as well as connecting up to 71,081 households across Kasese and Bundibujo districts. Now, UECCC GmbH from Germany for the design